Hello everybody and welcome back to my booktube channel. Today we're going to be talking about all of the books releasing this year in 2026 that I am prepared to be absolutely feral about. This is a mix of like brand new releases, sequels that are coming out that I can't wait for, some indie to trad pubbed re-releases. This year is going to be a good one for book releases. I can feel it. I've pulled this list together, so we'll just start rattling through them in a moment. But before I do that, let me know which book you're most excited for that is releasing in 2026, whether that's a re-release or a sequel or just like a brand new world coming out. Tell me what that is in the comments. But also, before we dive in, make sure you've hit a like on this video. It really helps me out with the algorithm, guys, and I'm pretty new to the booktube space, although I've been around on some of the platforms for a while. So give it a like, you know you want to. It's worth noting, if you're new to my channel, hello, welcome in, come on, sit down. I am mainly a fantasy and romance reader, so that is the majority of what I'm going to be talking about today. There are probably some other fantastic releases coming out in other genres that I'm not going to mention. It's just because they're probably not on my radar, but if you have a recommendation that's not within my usual genre, please leave that in the comments as well. Let's just make the comments like a little ongoing thread of all the books coming out this year that everybody's excited for. Drop them in the comments. Okay, there's a lot to get through in this video. I'm determined for this not to be super long. Let's dive in. This first section, I'm going to be covering books that I'm classing as kind of new releases. So these are going to be books that are kind of brand new worlds, the first in a series, potentially they're standalones, or they're like the first in a spin-off series, anything like that. They are something that is new rather than a sequel or like a republish. I'm starting with a book that's kind of cheating. This has been on my list of books I'm really excited for to come out this year, but I have now actually read it. I finished it last night. For the rest of you, it comes out in February. That is Half City by Kate Golden. This is a brand new urban fantasy release. I'm going to describe this as the perfect mix. Like if Shadowhunters and, I don't know, like Zodiac Academy had a baby, this is what it would have. I've rambled on about this. This is actually also in my 26 books for 2026. So that video is already uploaded, which I think it is. If not, it's coming up the week after this. Either way, if you want to hear me ramble more about this, check that video out. But long story short, I loved this. I think everybody else should have this on their TBR for this year if you do like your fast-paced, action-packed urban fantasy. I feel like urban fantasy is really having a moment, guys. It's coming back. And I think particularly if, like me, in the 2010s, you were hitting like the Shadowhunters and the Twilight and all of that kind of vibe, I think you're going to love this. It is adult, it is spicy, there are moments of like violence and probably some triggers, so do check them out. This is book one in what is going to be a brand new series from the author. The author is the author of the Sacred Stones trilogy, which I really loved, and book one, Half City, is coming out on the 19th of February. I would also keep an eye out for this in a certain book subscription box that happens to do some really delicious special edition books. I think we might see it in there, maybe the Romantasy box potentially. But so juicy, full of like secrets and betrayal and this like secret underworld and like fighting with like double daggers. Everything about this was so tasty. And I read this in like just over 24 hours. I think it took me like 27 hours or something. I pretty much read most of it in one day and then a bit just to finish it off the day after. So I'm kind of cheating with this one because I have already read it, but it was already on my most anticipated releases of 2026. So even though I'm not anticipating it anymore, the rest of you should be. Next up is another book that is on my 26 books for 2026. So I am repeating myself a bit here if you have seen that video already, if you're going to go on to watch that video. So I'll keep it brief, but Namorata. I get excited every time there's an Ava Reid release, and I think for the past 2 or 3 years there has consistently always been at least one. Last year we got 2. We had a double helping of Ava Reid. This one is apparently so unlike anything she's ever written. It is book one in what is going to be a dark fantasy duology. Now, the author has kind of put some warnings out there that this is going to feel probably quite different to a lot of what is mainstream right now, and they've kind of asked that you go into this with kind of like an open mind and open to kind of exploring a new genre or feeling something a bit new compared to what you might be reading already. So as ominous as that is, I am very excited about this. I always think that Ava Reid kind of sits within their own genre. This one, I can't wait for. I do love a dark fantasy. I do like a gothic fantasy. I do like when they have kind of romantic elements, which I believe this one does. So I'm very, very, very highly anticipating this one. Again, I could read this right now, and I may do. I don't actually know when this releases. I feel like it is at least within the first half of the year. It's usually on the book, but it isn't at the moment. I'm ready to read this and come out of this not the same person at all. Next up is an indie new release, and it is from an author that I'm very, very much looking forward to reading for the first time this year, and that is Melissa K. Roharich's new series. I think this is called Avonlea. Am I pronouncing that probably am butchering. It's probably wrong. Anyway, book 1 is called Tortured Souls. I've technically got a pre-order of this. The author is doing a signing event exclusive, which I'm going to pick up at Polycon, and then they're also doing their like foiled author editions that they do on the website. They're doing them for pre-order at Polycon as well. So I've pre-ordered 2 copies of this book. Even though I have never read a single page by Melissa K. Roharick, I have just bought into this author so much. I think I'm just going to adore her. I'll keep you updated. Today is the day I changed that. Today is the day I start the Lady of Darkness series, like the day that I'm filming this. So I'm anticipating loving that series, and I'm really, really excited to explore more of what Melissa K. Roharick has to offer. I also have the Reign of Shadows and Endings list on my TBR, so that might get through that series too. I think there's 4 books in that world, but it's currently being republished. We'll get onto that soon. That's coming up. But her brand new world, her brand new indie release is going to be Tortured Souls. I have seen some character art from this that is just so fantastic. It has piqued my interest right up. This is coming out soon. I want to say this is coming out in February or March. With it being an indie release, the paperback probably won't be available until release day, but if you want to pre-order it, it is available for pre-order on ebook, and it will be in Kindle Unlimited, and it will likely get turned into audio at some point as well. So I'm really excited. I'm going to wait to dive into this one until I've read Lady of Darkness and maybe some of her other books first. But I've already got 2 copies of these books secured. I've already got 2 of them pre-ordered, so I'm hoping I'm going to like this one. A book that I'm super hyped about is The Lives That Summon the Night by Sonia Odette. This, I actually read Rivalry of Hearts by Sonia Odette in December and absolutely adored that, which has really, really piqued my interest for this book. This is releasing in February as well, so it is a release earlier on in the year. This is Sonia's first book that has gone straight to traditionally published, although her backlog has now been acquired and is going through the traditional publishing process. And this one looks less cozy fantasy romance, which a lot of her other books have been, and looks a little bit more kind of like darker, gritty fantasy romance. I can't wait. It's described as sinful and seductive as well. This is probably going to be spicy, and the other stuff I've read from Sonia is a little smutty, so I'm vibing with that. Again, this is a series I've been seeing a lot of artwork online of the characters, and it has just looked so incredible. And I think the other thing that's really piqued my interest is I feel like a lot of the Romantasy books that are coming out at the moment are like minimum 500 pages. This one is actually under 300. So I'm really interested to see what's in here. What's in these 300 pages, and why is she so small? This is a proof copy that I hold in my hand, so it might be that the final copy is bigger. I don't know if it's just the way they've printed the proof that makes it look like super small. But sometimes I absolutely love a quick read. Sometimes I want a book to be 300 pages. I hate it when books are 500 pages, but it could have been like 350 pages and it was 150 pages of thriller. Like, give me what I need to know. I love this on the back. It just says, he hunts sins, she's a sinner, temptation could destroy them both. And me. Temptation is also going to destroy me when I finally read this. I am a filthy slut for vampire fantasy romance. Whenever there is a new vampire fantasy romance, or like a vampire fantasy romance I've not heard about before or I've never read, I am immediately like, oh, give me it. I am trying to contain my excitement about The Gravewood. This is by Kelly Andrew. It's coming out from Wayward Publishers, who are the publishers that did Direbound and The Wolf King, which I absolutely loved. This is coming out in April. Oh my god, this sounds impeccable. I can't tell if from reading the blurb this is maybe also a dystopian setting with vampires, but also there is a big focus on like this forest that Shay, the main character, lives near. And again, I love a tree, I love a forest, I love a forest in a fantasy book, especially if it's like dark and there's like maybe vampires lurking in there. I'm going for a hike in that forest, okay? And I have just been really, really excited about everything that Wayward is publishing. I feel like me and their publishing team are like on the same wavelength. We've been enjoying a lot of the same things, clearly. I've loved everything that I've read from them so far, so I'm really excited to dive in and give The Gravewood a read. Another book coming out from Wayward that I'm very excited about, and I actually went to a Wayward event before Christmas that had the author kind of talking about this book, which is my first exposure to it. This is Steelborn by Taylor J. LaRue. If there's one thing I've been loving in 2025, it is books with a strong female warrior archetype character. This looks like everything my female warrior character, main character energy dream could be. But also, like, the author was so sunshiny and bright, and like listening to her talk about how passionate she was about this book and explaining what the book is about, I was just immediately sold. I haven't seen too much hype about this one yet, but I really do think it is going to be such a big one this year. This is one I don't have a copy of in my hands yet. I don't think they've done proofs of it, but as soon as I see that there are proofs, I will be requesting one so hard. This is giving me like Thea from Blood and Steel. It's giving me Aelin from Throne of Glass. It's giving me all of my favourite things in a brand new fantasy world. And it's one that I can't wait to dive into. Another new release I'm really excited about. This one actually comes out in the next few weeks. By the time you watch this video, it might already have released. And this is Dragon Cursed by Elise Cover. I love Elise Cover. I talk about Elise Cover all the time. I love her Air Awakens. I particularly enjoy her oh my god, what is it called? Her Tournaments of Crowns series, that one, the Icy one, the 5 book, that was fantastic. I've also really enjoyed Arcana Academy and the Married to Magic series. This is something brand new from Elise Cover and one that I am very excited about. I could always get behind some kind of dragon fantasy. Like, dragons to me just like take that fantasy level up a notch. And this one sounds fantastic. I love the way that Elise writes her characters. I believe this one is YA. I know Arcana Academy was an adult release. I don't know why in my brain Dragon Curse is a YA release, but I really love how Elise Cover writes her YA characters. If I've got that wrong, correct me. Either way, I'm going to be reading it. Either way, I'm equally as excited about it. She does both genres so well. And I've seen a gorgeous like first print edition of this floating around as well with some beautiful edges. I'm going to be desperate to get my hands on. Elise Cover has another book coming up in this list, so just remember everything I said about how much I love her and apply that to later as well. The last book in my kind of like new releases that I'm really excited about is none other than Starside by Alex Aster. I don't know why I'm so excited about this. I haven't read Lightlark yet, but it is really high on my list. It's a kind of thing I think I'm going to dive into and devour. Starside, I believe, is Alex Aster's first adult Romantasy series, so I think I may be feeling particularly drawn to this one, but oh my god, the marketing has got me, the book cover has got me, the special editions have got me, something about it just has me. And I think so I'm seeing all of the hype about Lightlark, particularly now that Crown Tide has just released, this has then like jumped up in my radar. Inexplicably, I couldn't even tell you what this book is going to be about. I just have so much excitement in every bone of my body for Starside, and I don't even know why. The cover is just speaking to me. It's telling me, it's going, hey Becca, you're going to love me, get me pre-ordered. And I have got this pre-ordered. I am so ready for this book to release. I feel like I'm actually going to read this one probably before I read Lightlark. They're not connected in any way, but the reason I mention that is because I know all the hype is around Lightlark, so I'm going to read this one. And then I can join the hype from the beginning rather than coming into the hype game a bit late on Lightlark, because I think there's 4 books out now in that series. I am going to end up reading both, I think, but I think I'll actually start with Starside. The next category is going to be books that are technically being republished this year. So they were originally independently published and they're going through the process of going into traditional publishing, and they're coming out this year at some point. The first one, these are actually 2 books I also included in my 26 books for 2026, and this is The Poisoner and the Arachnid by Ivy Ophelia. I'm going to add a 3rd book to this. I don't know if this was originally independently published or not. Someone let me know in the comments. This might be a brand new straight to trad pub book, but I'm also going to add Fruit of the Flesh by Ivy Ophelia. In case you can't tell, this author is somebody who's been on my radar for a while. I've had The Poisoner on my TBR for quite some time. Didn't get around to it before it got pulled, although I have already got the audiobook of book 1 and the audiobook of book 2 pre-ordered, and I've got some copies of like physical copies of it pre-ordered as well. But I'm excited for this re-release, I think, particularly because it's bringing it back up into like my forefront of my memory. I'm going, oh yes, of course, I need to read The Arachnid and The Poisoner. And Fruit of the Flesh, I've actually been watching Laura absolutely adore that, and I think Emmy as well is also a big fan of this series. But my friend Rosie is obsessed with The Poisoner. In fact, quite a few of my friends love The Poisoner, and I've heard that the audiobook is fantastic, so I'm actually going to listen to The Poisoner on audiobook. But in terms of like re-releases, I don't know if Fruit of the Flesh is. That one might be brand new. That one might be brand new to trad, in which case I'm going to include it here, but just keep that in the previous list. But it might be brand new. I'm not too sure about that one, but I know for a fact The Poisoner was indie and is now trad. So all three of these are on my radar. They come out really early. I think The Poisoner and Fruit of the Flesh might already be out by the time you're watching this. They're both January releases, I think, or early Feb. And then I think The Arachnid is coming out not much longer after that. The next series is one that I said I would talk about. This is the Reign of Shadows and Endings series by Melissa Kate Roharick. Again, one that's been on my TBR for ages. This has been picked up by Kensington, I believe, and is currently undergoing republishing. It comes out very early in this year. I'm looking around me because I have a special edition of book 1 in this series that will unfortunately now never be complete because it was a signing exclusive, and I don't think she can do them anymore because the rights have now been bought. But I remember seeing that beautiful special edition, and I will be keeping it, I think, because the artwork on it is so stunning. And it immediately, I was just looking at it like, this looks like the dark fantasy of my dreams. The only reason I haven't read this one actually yet when it was independently published, because it was popular when it was indie, is because I want to read Lady of Darkness first. But one that I'm definitely going to be getting my hands on the republished versions of these. I've seen particularly, I think they're exclusive to the US, but they'll probably be available on some websites here. They're doing like a special first print run of the books, which looks beautiful, so I'm excited to get my little grabby hands on those. I couldn't make this section of re-releases or republished books without mentioning my holy grail, the Blood and Steel series. Now, I'm going to put up the old covers However, the new covers haven't been announced. So the new covers might look like this, they might be exactly the same, they might be completely different, I have no clue. I do know that they are releasing in hardback. These have been acquired by Pan Macmillan under their Bramble or Tor imprint, I think. This is one of my favourite series of all time. They went straight to traditionally publishing Iron and Embers, which is a spin-off series from this, and at the time, I remember when that came out, I was begging people to read this one first because I think it's so important that you do, and I'm already gagging for a reread. I also really want to reread this series, so I might wait until the traditionally published versions are out to give that a reread. I don't know if they're just going straight trad or if there's been like some editing process, but either way, I do want to reread these, so I'm excited for them being republished. But also I feel such a personal connection to this series. It is one of my absolute all-time favourites, so seeing it go from success to success and getting traditionally published, I just have such, look, I'm tingly. You can't see it, I'm covered in goosebumps right now. It just gives me such a sense of warmth that the series is doing well and so many more people are going to be able to access it. I just think it is one of the best things I've ever read. So a little sense of pride from me to Helen Scheurer and this series for its re-release that's coming up in 2026. And then the last one that is being kind of republished is Mother of Death and Dawn, which is the third book in the War of Lost Hearts series by Carissa Broadbent. I love the War of Lost Hearts series. I think the War of Lost Hearts series is so underrated. Sue me, I think everyone needs to go and pick this up immediately. I don't know if you can see behind me, probably not. I have book 1 and book 2 here already in the republished version, but I've been holding off doing a reread of the series. I want to say it's been 2 or 3 years since I read this initially, when I read it when it was indie, and I have said I'm going to do a full reread and re-experience this story again because it was one that really stayed with me now that it's been traditionally published. But I am just waiting on book 3 to come out and I'm very, very excited for it to do so. If you're watching this, definitely check out Waterstones. Waterstones have some really beautiful sprayed edge editions if you're in the UK anyway, or I think they do ship internationally. But I already have book 1 and book 2. At the time I'm recording this, I think they have book 2 at least in stock, and book 3 is in stock. I've pre-ordered that as well. So if you're looking for some special editions of the series, check there. Next up on this list is going to be some sequels releasing in 2026 that I am hungry for. A lot of these were in my 26 books that I want to read in 2026 list. So again, if you've already watched that by the time you're watching this, there might be some duplication here, apologies. But I am very excited about all of these. These are all sequels to books that I loved over the past few years. I'm going to run through a couple of them, and again, I go into more detail on my 26 books for 2026. So the ones that I cover in there, I'll kind of do a bit of a lighter touch on. The first of those is Rights of the Starling. Long story short, Shield of Sparrows was one of my favourite books of 2025. I love Daphne Perry as an author. It left me on such a place of needing to know more, needing more of the world, needing more of the characters, needing to spend more time with them. I wasn't ready to let go of book 1. So the fact that book 2 is around the corner, finally, I feel like I can sleep at night. I have got this pre-ordered, but again, Penguin Michael Joseph, if you're watching and you want to put this book in my hands early, I would not say no to a proof copy. You know, it can go right next to my proof copy of book 1. They would look lovely together. This was just one of the best and most unique fantasy romances that I read last year. I say this quite a bit, but I read 120 books last year, most of which were some form of fantasy romance. This one stuck with me throughout the whole year. This one stuck out as so unique and so like individual as a story and as the characters. I love the world. The thing I loved the most about this actually was the threat of these monstrous beasts and animals that were kind of around. I feel like sometimes we lose the monsters in fantasy nowadays. The threat is often like a human or an unknown power or an unknown prophecy, but actually like this felt like there was multiple threats, but having these like deadly bloodthirsty animals hunting them down was just like top of the iceberg for me. I absolutely adored this. Book 2 is coming out. I'm really excited about it. Come on, Rights of the Starling, land in my lap. I'm praying, I'm begging, I'm manifesting a proof copy of that book somehow. Along a similar line, we have Broken Dove. This is the second book to Silver Elite by Danny Francis. When I read Silver Elite for the first time, I read it just before it was coming out, and honestly, it just felt so fresh and the energy of it was so good. It's definitely like high action, high fast pace, like the romance is really high up there as well. It's quite smutty and spicy. And I am dying for book 2. Book 1 definitely left me in a space. I am ready for more. I am raring to go. I'm probably going to do a reread of book 1 because it has been quite some time since I read Silver Elite. I read it earlier on in the year. But Broken Dove is book 2. I really, really enjoyed it as a story. I enjoyed our characters. I'm really excited to go back and spend more time with them and see, God, what they're getting up to. Especially because the ending of book 1 had so much like lying and betrayal and like things that we thought had happened hadn't actually happened or had actually happened, and I need to unravel some more of that. There's more to this story that I need to like pick apart, and it's in book 2 and I want to get to it ASAP. Next is a sequel that has been on my like highly anticipated list for a long time, and that's because it's been pushed back a few times, which like is fine. I want the book to be perfect, and that is The Ballad of Fallen Dragons by Sarah A. Parker. This is book 2 to When the Moon Hatched. I'm not sure the reasoning. I don't know if they've ever said the reasoning for this book being pushed back, but it was pushed back. I don't know if it was once or twice, but it was pushed back by a chunk of time. It was originally supposed to be coming out, I think, like summer last year, but it is finally on the horizon. We have a cover now. The book apparently has a release date. I have got it pre-ordered. I'm excited to get my grubby hands on it. This is definitely one that I'm gonna have to go back and reread book one, because I read book one before it came out when it was traditionally published, but after it had been pulled from indie. I don't even know how long ago that was now. I want to say it was 2 years ago. I need to dive back into that, but I remember giving this 5 stars. I remember during the year that I read this, I also read Fourth Wing, I think, again, or maybe for the first time. I honestly don't know when this book came out. I cannot remember, but I remember specifically saying I think I enjoyed this more than I enjoyed Fourth Wing. This was one of my favourite like dragon fantasies of whichever year I read it in. So I definitely need to dive back in and then get excited for book 2. This next one's another one that's in my 26 for 2026. This is The Wings That Bind by Briar Bolin. It is the third and final book in the Bloodwing Academy series, which is like this perfect Fourth Wing meets Zodiac Academy, kind of dark academia, bully romance, dragon riding fantasy that just spoke to my soul last year. I read this author for the first time in 2025, and I read book 1 and book 2 back to back. Book 3 is on the horizon, and I can't wait to finish this series. I need some closure. I need to know what is happening. I need to know where we're going next with this. And it's just a book that like all round I'm really excited for. Book 1 and book 2 kind of collectively were on my top 10 reads of the year. I really enjoyed them, so I can't wait to finish the series. I'm hoping they don't release book 3 and then be like, surprise, and there's a book 4. I'm hoping please don't do that. I need closure. I need to know how the story ends. This one is one that I've pre-ordered, and I'm really hopeful that there might be a proof on the way. I do have the proof of the first 2, so I'm hoping there might be a little one to slot in there as well. I just need answers, and I need them like yesterday. Next up is 2 books by the Twisted Sisters. They're both new releases, but they're coming out in different series. I'm going to talk about them together because the things I have to say about the Twisted Sisters and these series kind of align. The first one is Cindervale, and then also there is Nightwing. So Cindervale is book 3 in the Neverkeep series, or the Sins of the Zodiac series, and Lightwing is book 2 in the Crown of Hearts and what? Lightwing is book 2 in the Crown of Hearts and Chaos series, of which book 1 is Hollow, which was also my top 10 of last year. Both of these series are highly anticipated releases for me. With Cindervale, I haven't actually read Echo Fort yet, which is book 2 in the series, so I want to read book 2 and book 3, but I'm keeping my eye on book 3. You might be able to see behind me I have Neverkeep and Echo Fort. I am ready for Cindervale to hit that list. And then Lightwing, I'm just desperate to pick up. This one I probably won't do a reread on. Who knows? I enjoyed Hollow so much, I might go and pick it back up, but definitely with Cindervale, I'm going to have to go back and read Echo Fort and Neverkeep. The Twisted Sisters have normally quite a few book releases a year. They write and publish super quick because they're indie pubbed for the majority of their stuff. So who knows, we might even get like the Crown of Hearts and Chaos book 3 next year as well, this year. Oh my god, we are in 2026. But either way, those are the 2 Twisted Sisters releases that I'm going to be keeping my beady eyes on. We then have the third book in a series that has very quickly taken over my entire personality. That is the Quicksilver series, and we have Fate and Alchemy book 3. I don't think this book has a title yet. I don't think we've seen a cover yet. I don't even know if we have a release date. My brain is saying November, but I don't know if that is incorrect. I think I've seen that this is releasing this year. That might be a holding date though. Hopefully, fingers crossed, let's manifest this book is releasing as soon as possible. I could not envision how quickly and hard I was going to fall in love with Quicksilver and Brimstone. It became literally all I could think about the entirety of December and most of January so far. I just think it's one of my favourite series ever. I'm definitely going to dive in and do a reread and enjoy that story again before the third book comes out, maybe to align with book 3 coming out so I can read it kind of on release day. But I have just had such a good time with this series so far, and I'm really looking forward to diving more into the story. And oh my god, the ending of Brimstone. Please leave no spoilers in the comments because I know people will not have read it yet, but oh my god, the ending of Brimstone. How dare she leave us like that? How dare Callie? How dare you? But it's fine because we have a release date for book 3, so I'm guessing that's going to be kind of tied up here. I don't know if book 3 is going to be the final book or if there's more to come in the series. I kind of hope there's more to come. I really love these. I don't want to leave them. I don't want to leave Carrion Swift unless he's getting a spin-off. Like, I don't want to leave these characters. I want to stay in this world with them for a little bit longer. And the last book on this list, I'm sure, is a big anticipated release for a lot of you guys as well, and that is Furybound by Sable Sorensen. Look, Direbound was another one that took me by surprise. I don't know what it was. Wayward hit the bangers last year. I love The Wolf King. I love Direbound. I'm really excited. I've mentioned some of their other books in this list that I'm really excited to get into, but Direbound was really good, really strong. I gave that series 5 stars. The series, book 1, it felt like a series. Book 1, I gave 5 stars. Again, it's one that I bought a special edition of that I'm really excited to get, and I am looking forward to getting my hands on a copy of book 2 and reading what's going to happen next. I feel like book one, I mean, book one in every series does this, but book one in Diabound particularly felt like it was just setting up. It feels like the worst is to come. At the ending of Diabound, oh my god. But I feel like it's going to be one of those series where you read book one and you're like, oh wow, what a shock, aha, that was great. And then you get into book two and you're like, holy mother of God, what are we doing? What is happening? Yeah, like I just think it's gonna be the juiciest, also like tenderest, romancy vibe. Like I think it's gonna be so full of action. I feel like we're gonna go away from the school. I just feel like we're gonna get to know more about these wolves. I'm hungry to know more about these wolves and like more history and politics, all that kind of stuff. I'm just excited for Furybound. I think we're gonna like take a wider look at the world, and I'm so excited for that. And that is it. That is my list of all the books. In fact, no, I should correct that. This is not all the books releasing in 2026 that I'm excited about. This is just all the books my brain could come up with this morning releasing in 2026. There are definitely some more out there that I can think of that I'm hyped about, or there will be some, we're in January, you know, there's more books to release that will be announced coming this year, do you know, that I will be very excited about as well. There's definitely more indie releases coming in the next few months I'm very excited about that I've probably not covered here. But these were just the ones that my brain plucked out of the air this morning as a series that I'm thinking about regularly. I didn't script this. I just wanted to be like, what am I genuinely the most excited about? Where is my brain going first? And this is where it went. Before you head off, thank you if you've made it all the way through the video. Look, you're a real champ. This was a bit of a longer one. Make sure you have subscribed if you've made it this far, because you might like all of my other content. I have new uploads for you, usually on a Sunday. There's usually a new bookish video for me every Sunday. So make sure you've subscribed before you've left. Make sure you leave me that comment, let me know what your most anticipated release of 2026 is down below. But other than that, I will see you in the next one.